everyone. I'm Makshi. I'm a medical student. I study in India and I'm very thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me. So I'll present an interim analysis of a study that I did, which is about the role of near-infrared spectroscopy, or NIRS, in neurotrauma triage at pre-hospital level. So the burden of traumatic brain injury in India. Let's start with talking about this. So the burden of TBIs in India is immense. India has a very high rate of mortality, claiming more than 150,000 lives and injuring almost 500,000 people annually. Most of these injuries are due to road traffic accidents, and most often they involve a two-wheeler. TICH, or traumatic intracranial hemorrhage, any trauma to the head can cause ICH. It may be accidental, like road traffic accident, fall, or non-accidental injury like violence. TICH is the most critical factor responsible for secondary injury. Timely and accurate diagnosis is critical for the early management of patients with TBI. Now currently CT scan is the investigation of choice. It's the gold standard. But there can be several problems with it, such as limited access, excessive radiation exposure, and an inappropriate burden on the healthcare resources, especially in a country like India, where majority of the population is rural. So on your left, this is English actress Natasha Richardson. She died of EDH. She was skiing in Canada. She was learning how to ski. She fell down, hurt her head. She complained of severe headache for 2 hours, but refused to see a doctor. She was later flown to New York, and where she unfortunately passed away. Something similar happened to this guy on the right. This is Indian cricketer Raman Lamba. He also died due to EDH. Now there are several clinical prediction rules which are given by societies like the Scandinavian Society, the European Society, or the World Federation. These are in place to ensure that the minimum number of CT scans are done to detect one abnormal scan. But what happens when you follow the clinical prediction rule or rules like this is that you end up doing a lot of CT scans to detect one abnormal scan. Now this is where a point of care device comes in, or a POC. Now this is a device which comes to the site of accident or the site of injury. So for a CT scan you have to go to a lab, but for a device like this, the device comes to you. A portable ICH detection tool that is accurate, easy to use and rapid will help to bring down unnecessary CT and additionally prompt the need for an urgent CT. Handheld NIRS devices have been developed for diagnosing TICH at the point of primary care. Now these are some of the common devices which use infrared rays. This is the remote control, much like this, and this is the thermometer, handheld. This is the electromagnetic spectrum. As you can see, this is the infrared. Now the infrared spectrum is further divided into three, which is the near infrared, middle infrared, and far infrared. Most of the sunlight, sun rays also is composed of infrared. Now we'll talk about NIRS, which is what we are concerned with. So it was originally designed for clinical monitoring of tissue oxygenation, but it has been developed into a useful tool in neuroimaging studies, which we call the functional NIRS. Now with NIRS, cerebral activation is detected by measuring the cerebral hemoglobin. The precise correlation, however, remains to be understood. Now how can we use NIRS to detect TICH? So near infrared luminescence has received considerable attention in biomedical research because of the following properties. It has excellent tissue penetration and it has extremely low phototoxicity. In particular, the 1000 to 1700 nm spectra, which is called the biological window, is of wide interest. Now this was a small video, but I guess it won't work. So it basically talks about how the device works. So we put the device to the head, it transmits the light travels to the brain, it is backscattered and it's received by the computer in the device, which is here. And based on the difference in optical densities, it detects whether there is a hematoma or not. So there are several questions which arise. So what are the performance characteristics of NIRS as a diagnostic test for patients suspected of having a brain hematoma or with risk factors for brain hematoma? So these are previously published studies with different scanners. So the sensitivity can range from 74% to as high as 94%. This is the specificity, which can be as low as 29% to as high as 100%. So the device which we are using it's called Cerebro. It has been manufactured in India, and these are the studies which have been done in India so far. So these are 3 quite large hospitals of India, NIMHANS, Civil and AIIMS, and these are the results which have come out. The sensitivity has come out to be from 88 to 99%, and the specificity from 87 to 98%. Now there are some cases where the device can miss a hematoma or can give false negative. One such case can be a bilateral hematoma. Since the device measures difference in optical densities, it can sometimes miss a bilateral hematoma. The same goes for very small bleeds. So bleed smaller than 2 cc will not be detected by the device. A deeply located hematoma greater than 3.5 centimeter will not be detected. If the patient is in agitation or it's continuously moving, which can happen during transport, for example in an ambulance, or if it's a very small kid, and you're not able to complete the scan, it will show a false negative. So this is the bilateral hematoma. Yeah. What is the evidence that use of NIRS impacts diagnostic or therapeutic decision making for patients suspected of having a hematoma? So positive scan will result in a prompt or urgent CT. So if the scan has come out to be positive, you'll quickly shift the patient for a CT and then quickly shift the patient for a surgery, which will prevent any wastage of time. Negative results in the cases with no high risk factors, avoid unnecessary CT scan. What is the evidence of that NIRS will impact patient outcomes? So, like I said earlier, early detection will reduce the delay in surgical evacuation. So, if the scan comes positive, you quickly move the patient for CT scan and you quickly move the patient for surgery, which will lead to better outcomes. What are the potential adverse effects and unintended consequences of NIRS? So there are no adverse effects as such. It is completely non-invasive, relatively quick to perform, takes about 2 to 4 minutes, and it does not interfere with the delivery of usual care. So there is no additional delay or any inconvenience for the patient. What is the cost effectiveness? So it's possibly low cost. Now direct cost has not been compared, but indirect cost, which will include transport. So oftentimes, particularly in India, patients have to be transported hundreds of kilometers to get a CT scan. Now if there is a device like that, all of that can be avoided and will lead to lower costs. Also, since it leads to better patient outcomes, arguably, it will also reduce the stay of patients in the hospital. So these are some of the variables which can affect which can be affected. So setting, it can be used in the emergency department, hospital setting, ambulance, road, field, it can be a war field or a sports field. Patient variables, so skin color, if the skin color is very dark, it can potentially affect with the penetration of the rays. Subgaleal hematoma, like this, so the device gives a subgaleal hematoma also as a positive. And a scalp laceration like this, the device cannot be used on an open wound. So this is what I did, my study. I did this in pediatric and geriatric patients with a history of head trauma. So children less than 18 and older adults greater than 65 years of age, where the real utility lies. So oftentimes what happens is, if a child has suffered from trauma, then some parents are apprehensive about the exposure of excessive radiation due to CT scan. So they want to avoid getting a scan. And at the same time, there are patients or parents who are not satisfied because they want to be ensured or reassured that the child doesn't have an intracranial hemorrhage or an intracranial injury. So I did my study here in Bengaluru, which is the capital of this state of Karnataka. I did it in NIMHANS. This stands for the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. It's one of the largest trauma centers of southern India. So this is the emergency and casualty wing. Clearly it's very crowded. Every day about 25 to 30 head injury patients show up, out of which 50% of them will have positive scan. Now 50% is a very high number to have positive scan. It's because NIMHANS is a referral center. So only those patients who have a high risk are referred to NIMHANS. This is just a picture of me with the residents at the triage. So this is how it would go when, this is a flowchart showing what would happen when a patient arrives. So a patient arrives with trauma, they're examined by a neurologist and referred for a CT scan. Whichever patient is referred for a CT scan will undergo both, a CT scan and a Cerebro scan. Either of them could happen first, that doesn't make a difference as long as it happens within 3 hours, because after that the results might change. So I am not able to see the CT scan to avoid any bias, and the CT scan results are evaluated by a qualified neurosurgeon. So So these are the sites of detection. There are 8 sites of detection: bilaterally, frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital. This is the device. It's very lightweight and looks like a water gun, and this is the display. So if there is no hematoma, it shows green, and if there is a hematoma, it shows red. This is how you use it. This is the patient. So this is what the performance of the device came out to be. These are the results. So the sensitivity is at par, it's 96%, and the specificity is quite low, which is 12%. So the final analysis has not been done yet, since this is just an interim analysis. But one of the reasons for this can be many children have large subgaleal hematoma, and as I mentioned before, the device gives subgaleal hematoma as positive. Future plan, we'll complete the required sample size of 300, make it widely available at centers where CT scan is not available. It has already been distributed in several primary health centers in the state of Rajasthan, and it can be used as a triage tool to prompt early CT, at the same time avoid unnecessary scans.